Wait, that meme is from Jurassic Park? I know nothing about this movie. I know literally nothing about this one. Generic intro into That Goes Movie here, back with another kill count reaction. Today we're doing Jurassic Park and The Lost World, which is, I guess, the sequel to Jurassic Park that came out the year that I was born. I didn't realize there was like a 4-year gap between Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park The Lost World. I have seen clips of the first Jurassic Park movie, and I've seen, I think, the most recent Jurassic World video with Chris Pratt, or not video, but movie. I actually saw that in theaters, believe it or not, which is crazy. Me at movie theater. Thank you so much for being here. You can check my reaction to last week's video, which was Uncle Sam and Never Hike Alone, which are very interesting movies, very different movies. You can check my reaction to that one. I'll leave it right up there. Also, link down below in the description. Also, want to play this on my channel with all of my other kill count reactions. Going in chronological order if you have binge watch to all of them. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hopefully, I can make it just tiny little bit better. I do read all your comments, so leave them down below. I guess next week will probably be like Unfriended. It'll either be Unfriended or we'll do Jurassic Park 3. Didn't know they made a third one. And then Jurassic World, which has Chris Pratt in it. I think I've seen that one as well. So I don't know if we'll do that next week, just to have it continuity for in the playlist and whatnot for people binge watching, and then I'll do Unfriended after that because it's just kind of like a random movie that's thrown in there. But it's gonna be a long episode today. Both these videos are over 20 minutes long. Shout out to the patrons because none of this will be possible if it's not for them. $30 a month to get you all my reaction videos a day early. It's like 16 videos a week usually minimum, and I'm super excited to watch this. I did not know that people consider these horror movies. I guess I don't know why they don't have as many views as the other ones. That's kind of odd. I don't know, but let's go ahead and jump on into it. All right, so
movie footage used in the kill count is
these are considered horror movies.
Dead Meat makes no claim of ownership and simply uses the footage. For
when I think horror, I don't think Jurassic Park.
Criticism under fair use. Please support.
Which I'm not sure how I would classify that
by watching Jurassic Park in its entirety on home media or streaming services where available.
Yeah, I've seen the new ones with Chris Pratt. Is there only 2 of them with Chris Pratt?
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims
of
all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're cracking open a dinosaur egg and starting the Jurassic Park franchise.
Yeah, I've seen clips
you say?
of
well, it's at
Jurassic
least
Park. I mean,
adjacent,
it scared
dog.
me.
There are dinosaurs eating people. What more do you want? When Jurassic Park was released
I don't know, a pet
in
dinosaur would be nice.
It changed movies forever. It was the highest-grossing film in the world until Titanic beat it out, and it spawned a series of sequels, including the recently released Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, which, judging by its box office take, you've probably already seen.
Wait, Fallen Kingdom.
Park, director Steven Spielberg set out to depict dinosaurs in a scientifically accurate way, inspired by the hard science fiction of the source material, the novel by Michael Crichton. He used a combination of effects to bring the dinosaurs to the big screen. First, the animatronics done by Stan Winston, who also designed the Terminator, the Predator,
I imagine the budget for this movie was
and second, the revolutionary CGI done by George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic. Together, these effects made dinosaurs feel truly alive again, and Jurassic Park quickly became a multimedia juggernaut with countless comic books, action figures, video games, and theme park rides. On a personal
also little kids
note,
just
Jurassic
love
Park
dinosaurs.
Was one of my
nephews
obsessions in life.
love
this
dinosaurs.
Is a very important series to me, so I'm excited as hell to cover it on this channel. So please, won't you join me for the kills?
Also, if anything's ever blurred, that's because copyright. I can't do anything about it.
With bona fide badass Robert Muldoon supervising the delivery of a metal crate to his crew of Jurassic Park employees on Isla Nublar.
Okay, that's a lot of people.
Is a scary-sounding velociraptor, but the crew overcomes their fears and lines it up to an entry gate. Gatekeeper Joffrey climbs on top to lift the barrier and let the raptor inside its pen, but the velocibastard inside slams against the opposite side of the crate instead, knocking it back and allowing the dinosaur to grab a piece of that sweet gatekeeper.
Oh, goodbye.
A panic ensues, and Muldoon encourages everyone to exercise their Second Amendment rights on the dino.
Shoot her! Shoot her!
Oh, that's
Joffrey's
what about Crossfire?
Muldoon's fingers, and with a very vocal death gasp, he becomes the first to go on our path.
Wait, with a name spelled like that?
Okay. So let's visit the Badlands near Snakewater, Montana, where doctors Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler are digging up bones. Dig it? They just found a pretty nice raptor specimen, and Grant takes the opportunity to tell the audience that dinosaurs aren't actually lizards like previously believed.
Aren't they birds?
Instead, bird is the word. He's interrupted by a snarky little wit.
T-Rexes didn't have
Dreamchild himself,
small
saying
arms.
That the raptor looks like a big old turkey. Grant don't like that kind of disrespect, so he pulls a blade on a bitch to send that kid home with one very full pair of underpants. It's clear that Grant doesn't like kids, even though his romantic partner Dr. Sattler would like to have some eventually. Fun fact, there's a 20-year age gap between the then 26-year-old Laura Dern and the then 46-year-old Sam Neill. Kinda weird, but I guess he is Sam Neill. Inside their trailer, Grant finds the benefactor of their digs, Dr. John Hammond, who pops champagne.
Wearing all white in the desert.
By the late Richard Attenborough, who gives an incredible performance like everyone else in this movie. When it came to casting, they spared no expense. Hammond needs Grant, a paleontologist, and Sattler, a paleobotanist, to come to the park he's hoping to open next year and sign off on it being safe. See, the family of the unfortunate Joffrey filed a lawsuit against the park, scaring the park's investors, who are represented by lawyer Donald Gennaro, this dude with the same tailor as David Byrne. Gennaro is going around inspecting every level of the park to ensure its safety, and Hammond needs Grant and Sattler to come and vouch for him. Although they're reluctant to go at first, Hammond persuades the paleoscientist by saying he'll provide 3 years worth of funding for their dig. They're flown to the island on a helicopter where we meet the greatest
helicopters are pretty
ever, Dr.
short
Ian
distance. Why is he growling?
Malcolm is played by Jeff Goldblum, a man who sweats sex appeal out of every pore, and he's a chaotician / knee squeezer extraordinaire who's also there to evaluate the safety of the park at the behest of the lawyer Gennaro. As can be expected,
that's his purpose?
He immediately begins hitting on Dr. Sattler.
Dr. Sattler,
he's been in every one of them, right?
You aren't familiar with the concept of attraction.
They arrive at the island, and during the chopper's descent, the ride gets a little bumpy. There's a clever girl metaphor when Grant has a defected seatbelt with 2 female ends to it, but still finds a way to buckle them. As they take a couple of Jurassic Park jeeps through the island, Gennaro tells Hammond
there's
that he
so
has
many people
48
that get
hours
jeeps
to
to do that.
of the park safety. Hammond's
That like
hey,
turn him in
that's
Jurassic
great
Park.
and all, but check out these dinosaurs, motherfucker.
It's a dinosaur.
You goddamn
You think,
right, Grant. That right there is a Brachiosaurus, and she's a hungry girl.
I hate how much
big old dinosaur.
Ark
And in
taught
case
me
you want
about
to see some carnivores,
on
don't
dinosaurs.
you worry. They have a T-Rex. Grant's gonna need a fainting lounge after hearing about that, as Hammond delivers the film's most iconic line.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Fuck, I love this movie. Hammond
that
takes
the
them all to the
most
visitor
classic
center
line?
and shows them a video meant to explain the science behind Jurassic Park. It features a cartoon character named Mr. DNA, voiced by Greg Burson, who forever influenced my pronunciation of the word dinosaur.
Dinosaurs.
To bring dinosaurs back to life, amber is the color of their energy, because they got that dino DNA from mosquitoes and
weren't
fossilized tree
insects
sap.
like
Then they use
massive?
frog DNA to fill in any holes in the genetic code, because they know that nothing bad has ever come from cheap patchwork to hide mistakes.
Wait,
the
they
team
use
heads into a
frogs?
lab to see what's on the slab, and there to give some more dino exposition is Dr.
Why'd they
Henry
use
Wu,
frogs?
played by B.D. Wong, looking just as young here as these dinosaur
is
fetuses
he in
waiting to
the
hatch.
Chris Pratt
Grant
ones
and
too?
company get to witness the birth of a velociraptor who just needs to push her way out of this egg. Dr. Wu assures the visitors that their dinosaurs can't breed in the wild because they're all engineered to be females. That's right, no dino dongs allowed on Isla Nublar. Malcolm doesn't buy it and expresses his belief in chaos, saying these dinos will find a way to breed regardless.
Life, finds a way.
Oh, but Malcolm, didn't you hear Dr. Henry Wu? He said that they can't, and he's such a nice young man, you can surely trust him. I'm sure he'd never become a supervillain-like character later in the series or anything. During a luncheon that looks smokier than a casino, Hammond's guests express their views about the park. Gennaro's all about them dollar signs, while Malcolm thinks Hammond isn't responsible enough to be wielding
I'm trying to figure out what that watch is.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
The paleoscientists
I've heard
agree
that
with Malcolm
line
that it's
before.
unwise to engage in this kind of reverse extinction engineering, and Hammond laments that his only ally at the table is a vampire. Seems like a good time to develop Grant's character a little bit.
Wouldn't
So
this
let's get some
also
kids up
work
in
for
this
like
bitch.
cloning?
Hammond's grandchildren Lexi and Tim fall into the old man's arms, and their excitement is positively contagious to Grant. They're here to join the park's visitors on a guided tour
Those
of
aren't
these
Jeeps.
super modern electric Jeeps with exciting features like interactive CD-ROMs. Lexi's pumped, and you know what? I get it. You ever buy one of those enhanced CDs in the 90s, like Born on a Pirate Ship? That shit was dope. Hammond, meanwhile, is staying back in the control room, which doesn't speak very highly of your tour if you don't even want to go on it, does it, my dude? Head engineer Ray Arnold, played by professional yeller Sam Jackson, starts up the Jeep.
Wait,
and the
that's
tour
Samuel
gets
Jackson?
underway. An awesome giant gate opens, and then we're in Jurassic Park, bitches! Too bad the tour is kind of a bust. The first dinosaur they're supposed to see, a Dilophosaurus, is more like a Dilaphosaurus because it never shows up like it's supposed to. And the T-Rex is also a no-show, even after they offer her free apps in the form of a billy goat.
Oh,
that's
no.
not the only problem for the control room peeps. There's also an impending tropical storm on its way to the island, and their chief technician, Dennis Nedry, is a Slavic egotist
when they picked the island
for his current financial woes. That's why earlier in the movie we saw him visiting San Jose to engage in a little bit of corporate espionage with. Oh, holy shit! Is that Dodson?
Dodson, we've got Dodson here.
Wow, it is.
Like the car brand?
I care, Newman.
Oh, so nobody cares. That's a meme.
You'll need to smuggle dino DNA
Wait,
off the island.
that meme
so
is from Jurassic Park?
In the control room, we already know that he's Barba sold out to Hammond's corporate adversaries. During their dino downtime, Malcolm flirts with Ellie and gets her all wet.
Also, no headrest.
Her hand. He gets her hand all wet with a little demonstration of chaos using water droplets. Grant can't take the smell of all that sex appeal, so he bails out of the Jeep, and Ellie chases after him to apologize for falling in love with Jeff Goldblum so fast. Joke's on y'all, though. this just further proves Malcolm's theory.
See, here I am now by myself, talking to myself. That's chaos theory.
The real reason
Okay, I love it. I love
because
chaos.
he saw a Triceratops yonder, which was his favorite dinosaur as a kid. Solid choice, Grant. It's like the warrior monk of dinosaurs.
It doesn't look like he's
poor
doing
girl
too
has
good.
a tummy ache. But you know what? She should be fine as long as no humans lean on her stomach while she's trying to breathe. Oh, come on, Grant. Touch with your eyes only. Ellie takes great interest in the dinosaur's health, while Malcolm has a brief glimpse into the future where he sees the rest of the Jurassic Park series.
a meme.
That is one big pile of shit.
How many memes came from this?
With Chekhov's storm about
one-liners
everyone
and
is called back to the Jeeps, except for Ellie,
stuff
who
like
opts
that.
to stay with the sick dino instead. With the storm pounding Nedry's getaway ship, it's go time for his dino heist. So he very smoothly and not sweatily at all tells the others that he's debugging the system, then sneaks into the dino blood storage freezer and adds a bunch of specimens to a shaving kit. Part of Nedry's plan.
Wait, he used the Barbasol can?
Okay. Out, and that's why I guess that's what he was showing earlier. Fences to turn off. The better to push them open and not die. When Arnold tries to break through his code, he runs into one of those "you are an idiot" type pop-ups.
You didn't say the magic word.
Nedry's cyber attack has also left the phones out of service and the Jeep's broken down.
So is he doing this to take care of the lawyer to get rid of
Tim finds some night vision goggles
the lawsuit?
That he wants so bad,
or is it
babe,
the
even though his use of them is driving Gennaro mad. Tim doesn't need those goggles to hear some heavy footsteps approaching though, nor to notice some spooky ripples in a cup of water, an effect achieved by plucking a guitar string underneath the cup. When he does use the goggles
That's how they
he
did
sees
it?
that the goat is gone. Where could it be? Oh, there it is. That's right.
Oh,
We're
no.
halfway through this movie, and that means it's time for the main attraction, the motherfucking
10,000 volts?
T-Rex.
I feel like that's not
oh
that
my
much.
God, she looks so good. Gennaro runs out on the kids and into
For,
a nearby
what,
restroom
93?
to hide, and Malcolm gives them the benefit of the doubt.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
The electric fence snaps behind them, and it's time for the money shot. Or should I say
Oh.
the T-money shot, because here comes that Rex, baby. Give me that roll.
Dude,
Grant tells Malcolm to be still.
what would a
because
T-Rex
the
even think of a
T-Rex's
car?
vision is based on movement. That's a totally made-up thing, but whatever, it's a movie. Too bad Lexi and Tim just decided to put Phantasmic on in their back seat. The T-Rex mistakes their Jeep for a cat toy and gets ready to cause them some T-pain by smashing through the Jeep's glass ceiling in
I
a
could
terrifying
imagine
display of how
that.
she's the true apex predator. As Malcolm and Grant gawk through their windshield,
I could see a
the
T-Rex
not only flips
being
the
like
Jeep
a cat.
over, but gets a mouthful of delicious tire. Rubber. The men finally
I've seen
decide
that
to
movie.
save the kids, so Grant gets out and distracts the T-Rex with a road flare. Malcolm also wants to help, but he's a bit more foolhardy about it, leading the T-Rex on far too long until he winds up getting thrown through the air. The Rex accident knocks out Malcolm and destroys the glorified outhouse, leaving this hungry dinosaur
The dinosaur's
to discover a free
confused.
pot sticker in the form of Gennaro. With a mighty chomp,
Oh,
we get a
okay.
classic kill.
So gentle.
Gennaro
Just a
eats
gentle
straight
yoink.
off the toilet. Grant fishes Lexi out from under the car, and when the T-Rex comes
Covered
to
in mud.
sniffing, employs his patented "don't you move a fucking muscle" strategy to avoid his detection. The T-Rex gets pissy that it can't find its prey, so it forces them over a ledge and down a wall that shouldn't really exist there, because that's the broken electrical fence where the T-Rex stepped out from.
Maybe it was from a different part. Oh no, it's actually just right there.
Come from. But the Rex doesn't care about
I don't
spatial
know.
logic and knocks the car over the edge. Just
What?
barely
Dude,
missing Grant
it's
and Lexi
literally
in the
like a
process.
cat.
Good job, girl. You should be so proud of yourself. Dennis Nedry is taking the off-roading capability of his Jeep a little too far when he winds up crashing it. Since the road is just down a bank, he tries to pull the car out with a winch cable, but runs into a few problems. The first of which is slipping down this natural water slide with a stupid sound effect.
But
Then he runs
was
into
that sound
a
effect actually in the
Dilophosaurus,
movie?
a cute little lizard boy who looks like the Machop
And that's the thing.
Kind of small.
Now,
but
this is
also
the clip
straight
I've
jacked.
seen.
This Machoposaurus
Terrified
has
me.
a few more fancy frills to it though, because this
Terrified
fictional
me.
version of the species has the ability to hiss like a rattlesnake and spit out a bunch
Wait,
of poisonous
fictional.
tar onto
Does
Nedry's
that not-
decolletage. Then straight into his face.
Yeah, no.
Blinded, Nedry bumps his head and drops his Barbasol can, losing his potential fortune. But not like he'd be able to use it anyway, because that Dilophosaurus is waiting for him in the Jeep and gives us another kill
the
by
Dillos.
eating the duplicitous computer nerd in the front seat. Maybe she wouldn't have eaten you if you had said the magic word, Nedry. The Jeep with Tim landed in a real tall tree, so Grant climbs up there and coaxes Tim's pukey ass out of the passenger seat while accidentally turning the wheel of the vehicle. They start to climb down when the Jeep above them realizes, shit, I'm a car man, I ain't supposed to be in a tree like this, and tries to get its tires on more stable ground. We get a simple but exciting vertical
That's a
chase
strong
scene
tree.
that
Those
ends with
branches.
Grant and Tim just barely lucking out when the car falls
Oh,
onto
wow.
them sunroof first.
Well, we're back.
Good thing.
in the car.
Good thing.
Muldoon and Sattler leave the others at the control station to go rescue everyone, and when they get to the T-Rex pen, they're able to find
Also
the tree Jeep down
convertible?
below,
Kinda
along with
nuts.
evidence that Grant and the kids have already moved on. They also managed to find a sexy injured Malcolm who's so badass he's already put a tourniquet on his leg. They load him into the Jeep just in time for some more good vibrations, which are basically the entrance music for the T-Rex. So no big surprise when she busts out the tree line and
Yeah, the
begins chasing
T-Rex
them
is like
in
the
Jeep.
biggest bad in this movie.
The T-Rex gets real close.
How fast
to
can
them,
they
a scene
get?
My film teacher would literally show every year to demonstrate how how to make a kick-ass
Also,
action sequence.
did they just
Eventually,
downshift?
they outrun the Rex, who tries to play it off like she didn't
no,
even
they
really
just
want to eat
shift.
them anyway. Yeah, keep telling yourself that, Rexy. Grant and the kids climb another tree and find themselves with box seat tickets to a Brachiosaurus show. Neat! Sounds
I like how
a
they
great
noticed
time
them,
for a
too.
cuddle party. Grant sleeps his way through some character development, and the next morning, they're visited by a Brachiosaurus eating breakfast. But poor girl must have a cold, because she sneezes all over Lexi,
Oh,
which is
ew.
not what she was expecting.
Ew, in
They
the
make their way
mouth.
through the
Ew.
park and
Oh,
find some
no.
eggs out in the wild, confirming that these dinos have been doing some unsupervised breeding.
And
like
how'd they
many
do
a
that?
rebellious teenager. Grant realizes that some West African frogs have been known to spontaneously change sex from male to female in a single-sex environment.
that's the
To put it
frogs that
more
they use.
succinctly, life
They didn't look
found a
through
way.
this?
Hey, speaking of sexy-ass Malcolm, here he is being sexy as hell. God damn, son! Since they can't break through Nedry's coding, Hammond wants to give the entire system a hard reboot. I see he's familiar with tech support solutions. Everyone
Yeah.
holds onto their butts as
Turn it off
Arnold
and
hits
turn
the
it back
main
on.
switch. And although a computer says the system is working again, Arnold will have to go to a maintenance shed to get the lights and phones back
Something
on.
bad's
Grant
gonna
and the
happen.
kids continue their unsupervised tour of the park when they run into a herd of Gallimimuses. Gallimimusi? Who impress Grant with their bird-like
fast.
behavior. The CGI used to render
Like I
these
said,
animals
Ark taught me a lot
similarly
about
impressed
dinosaurs.
Steven Spielberg, because it was only after seeing this scene done with computer animation that he decided to use more of it in his movie. The three of them escape a
Dude,
near trampling
I
by
can't
hiding behind
imagine
a log from which
what
they
it'd be
see
like
a
to
real
just get trucked by
Phalamomus
one of
when a
them.
T-Rex rushes out and eats one of the bird-like dinosaurs. And before you even comment, no, dinosaurs aren't going on the kill count. That shit would get way too difficult
Yes,
in
it
the later
would.
movies. Arnold is taking too long to get back from his trip to
But
the
also,
shed,
wasn't
so
it
the
like
power duo
dinosaurs and
Muldoon step out to
stegosauruses or
save
whatever
the day
lived
again.
like
Only this
very
time, they're
far
gonna have a
apart or
colossal
something?
problem on their hands, since it looks like those
Also, no
birds of
stock
prey
on that
have flown
shotgun.
the coop. When they get near the shed, Muldoon realizes they're being stalked, so he goes off on a raptor hunt while Ellie parkours her way through the jungle to get to the shed. Malcolm and Hammond use
Smart.
a schematic to direct her to the circuit breaker. But talk about bad timing.
They should've
Grant
already
and the
known where that
kids
was.
have just reached an electric fence they'll have to climb. Of course, only after he gives them a little bit more trauma
That's-
by pretending to get shot
electric
by it.
fence, you
After
do
they
the
make
back
their
of
way
your
over
hand.
the top, Ellie gets the power
Because-
charging up, causing the fences to warn them of a mighty big shot coming. But slow-ass motherfucking Tim
Wait, why
just
is it
freezes
give
in
a
place
warning?
instead of continuing
sorry,
to climb
wait,
down
kid.
or jumping like a big brave boy. The power comes
Dude,
back
just
on,
do
and
it.
he gets his ass shot
Oh!
right off the
Oh my
fence and into Grant's arms. Luckily, Grant is able to
got
resuscitate the
launched.
little firecracker and move
What?
on. With the lights all up and running again, it seems like nothing could possibly
What
go
would
wrong,
cause him
except
to
for a
get
raptor in
shot
the
back? Oh,
house.
hello.
Yeah, it's finally time to see my favorite Jurassic Park dinosaurs in action. And
A
right
raptor?
away, they score a kill when Ellie finds the detached arm of Mr. Arnold. If you don't recognize it,
Oh.
just try to picture a cigarette in his hand. Fun fact,
Fair.
Sam Jackson was going to get a whole chase and death sequence until a real-life hurricane wiped out the set they needed. Bummer. Ellie manages to escape from
Any
the
idea
raptor
what that
in
was
the
gonna
maintenance shed
look
and make
like?
her way
What
to
that
safety
set was?
outside. But while Muldoon is on the hunt for
So
the
how
other
did
two
the hurricane
raptors,
destroy
he
it?
underestimates their ability to trap them.
Hello. Oh, that's the
Muldoon
clever
joins
girl
the kill
scene.
count after one of the raptors jumps on him and noms him to death. Kinda looks like
Yeah,
when
Raptor's
Lucy plays
kinda
too
smart.
rough, only, more murdery. Grant and the kids make it back to the visitor center, and he puts them in the dining area while he just
kid's
about
hair.
finishes his character growth.
Big Tim, the human piece of toast.
Growth is good, but maybe work on those jokes a little bit. He heads outside to look for the others, leaving the kids alone to eat all the Jello pie they can
Oh,
want.
no.
While Grant and
Jell-O
Sadler
pie.
reunite outside, the kids get their fun time snack around ruined when
Okay,
an
it looked like
uninvited
his-
dinner
is there
guest shows
blood on his
up
ear?
with a shadow puppet show. They run off to hide in the kitchen in yet another unforgettable sequence in a
Oh,
movie
doesn't-
just
doesn't
chock
it
full
open-
of
it
them.
opens the door.
Seriously, JP, give some other movies a chance to be this iconic. And since these raptors
Yeah.
are Mensa members, they can open doors, so they step into the kitchen for a midday
What?
snack of kid. Hey, you know what's pretty cool? Some of these shots of the raptors are dudes wearing suits. I
Uh-huh.
love it. The raptors make a mess and sniff around and get
Dude,
real close to
practical
finding
effects are
Tim
just-
before Lexi distracts them with a ladle. Hey, yo, raptors, if you so smart, why you smashing your face into a reflection, you big dummy? The kids manage to trick the other raptor into a freezer and lock her inside, then flee the kitchen as old
like how that was
Smashy
just
Face
watching them.
recovers. Tim and Lexi join Ellie, Grant, and his shotgun, and together they
What
all
would a
head to the
shotgun even
control
do
room
to a
reboot the
raptor?
system and call for help. This scene is one of the movie's only missteps, just full of dumb character choices, as
Like
Grant
what?
and Ellie try to inefficiently keep a raptor out of the room while
Yeah,
Tim
it's
dances around like he has to pee instead of being any use, like, by grabbing that gun off the ground.
Yeah,
But
that would
since
be
the
useful,
computer
but
is
they
a
probably
Unix
want him to stay
system,
away.
and Lexi is a lead hacker, she's able to navigate her way around
Also,
the
who
platform
uses
after
a mouse
Mario
like
Kart
that?
and successfully reboot the system. The door locks, and with the phones online again, Grant calls Hammond requesting a pickup. But in no time at all, the raptor breaks into the room and chases them into the ceiling. They crawl through the air ducts until the raptor whack-a-moles his head
Yeah,
up in
how?
there and nearly
How'd
snaps
you
up
do
Lexi's
that?
stunt double, whose face was digitally replaced replaced with Ariana Richards's when she looks up. They get her back up and make their way out to the main lobby of the visitor center where the Raptor's already waiting for them.
Weird that they would have a scene like that, use a stunt double if it literally shows their face, you know?
Ride them like they're a bunch of bucking broncos at a bar. When they get too bucked up and wind up on the ground, the Raptor from the maintenance shed joins the party, so now they've got two of these.
I like how they're just like, hello? Honestly, it reminds me of the only Godzilla movie I've seen.
The motherfucking T-Rex shows up, somehow without anyone noticing, and eats that Raptor. Now,
even though you can hear it coming before.
While the Raptor and Goliath fight goes down, the humans run outside where Hammond is waiting for them in a Jeep, finally willing to admit, yeah, okay, maybe I fucked up. They drive off,
just a little bit.
The T-Rex finishes her fight inside, ending it with a mighty victory roar.
Wait, was that just straight at the end of it? That's not how the movie ends.
Our heroes board the last chopper out, and Hammond bids farewell to his disastrous murder park. The movie ends with Grant's character arc complete, since he's no longer repulsed by
4 kills?
children, as he looks out the window at some birds, nature's living dinosaur. It
Pelicans.
doesn't really matter how many people died, this is still one of the best movies ever, but since it's the conceit of
did
the show,
really well.
let's go ahead and get to the numbers.
Okay, James.
5 people died in Jurassic
Okay, 5.
Park,
Okay.
all of them dudes.
Why is there
I
an
hope you like
arm?
the taste of blueberry pie, because you about to get a lot of them in the series. With a
Never
runtime
had
of
blueberry before.
126 minutes, we wound up with a kill on average about every 25 minutes.
But
I'll give the
you don't
Golden
watch Jurassic
Chainsaw
Park for the kills. You watch for the
Donald
dinosaurs.
Gennaro. Even if you've only seen this movie once, you remember the dude getting eaten off the toilet. Guaranteed.
I
Bill
did not
Machete's
know that
lamest
happened.
kill will
I
go to
knew.
Joffrey, who died in a close-up on his hand. Why didn't anyone freaking shoot her? And for this franchise, I want to give one more award each movie. All
For
of these
what?
films, the original and the bad ones, have multiple amazing
The
dinosaur
original
sequences.
and
So
the
for
bad
each movie,
ones.
I'm going to award a Diamond Dino, an award given
Nice.
to the most exciting or well-made sequence involving dinosaurs.
Also
For
looks
the
like
original
Rexy.
Jurassic Park, I'll give it to the T-Rex escaping from its paddock and attacking the visitors. The Rex looks absolutely incredible and scared many a small child who saw this movie, yours truly included. And the entire sequence just has non-stop thrills to it, from the Malcolm chase to the aforementioned toilet snack, even knocking the
I like
Jeep
how
over that
gentle
weirdly
it was with the
existent wall.
yoink.
It's all great. I love it. And that's it. Jurassic Park came out in 1993 and not only had a
Older
huge
than me.
impact on the world of cinema, but also on me, your humble kill counter. And despite
Kill
all its
counter.
flaws, I was equally impacted by the first sequel, The Lost World Jurassic Park, which I'll be
Was it
looking at
also
next week.
good, or
Until
was
then,
it-
I'm James A. Janice.
Or maybe
It's been
the
kill count.
I think
Thanks
somebody
a lot for watching
commented
this
saying the
week's
first
Kill
2 were
Count. I want to thank a
perfect.
couple of patrons like Pickles McGee, Fleur Richardson, and Tyler Slom. Yes, the
I actually
Jurassic Park
just got a
movies are
patron.
the new series on the Kill
Blake
Count. But again, don't expect a
Elginbrook?
kill count on Fallen Kingdom
Thank you.
until it comes out on
I
Blu-ray.
definitely said
I had
that wrong,
so many
but thank you.
Jurassic Park toys as a kid that this is really sad to me. I want those fences back. I want that RV. I want all that shit.
The
All right,
RV. There
good
wasn't
people.
RV.
Movie footage used in the kill count is Movie footage used
There
in
we
the
go.
kill count.
The
is
Lost
owned
World
entirely
Jurassic
by
Park,
the
1997,
copyright
year I was
owners.
born.
Deadbeat
Why
makes
does
no
it
claim
not
of
have that many
ownership. It simply
views?
uses the footage for purposes of education,
Why?
commentary, and criticism under fair use. Please support filmmakers and the art of filmmaking by watching The Lost World Jurassic Park in its entirety on home media or streaming services.
I know
where
nothing
available.
about this movie. I know literally nothing about this one. I saw clips of the first one,
Welcome
nothing
to
about
Kill
this
Count, where
one.
we
I've
tally
seen
up
the
the
Chris
victims
Pratt
in all
ones,
our favorite
which
horror
apparently
and
are the bad ones, according to
horror-adjacent
James,
movies.
and
I'm James
most
A.
people,
Janice, and
apparently.
today we're still talking about dinosaurs with The Lost World Jurassic Park, released in 1997. A movie as big as Jurassic Park basically demanded a sequel for money purposes, so Spielberg and
I'm sure it
Universal
made
promptly asked
for
Michael
really good
Crichton
money.
to write another novel, from which they used pretty much nothing for the plot of this movie.
Wait, they wrote a
Spielberg's
book?
Lost World takes memorable side
did it-
character
okay.
Ian Malcolm and makes him the main character, one of many
Oh.
things that made me obsessed with this movie as a kid. I also loved all the big action set pieces, the cool vehicles that made for cool toys,
Whoa.
and the phenomenal score by John Williams, which I still maintain rivals the originals. If I remove my
Yeah, literally
nostalgia
never
glasses,
seen-
there is plenty to
none of this
complain
is
about
ringing a
here.
bell.
Primarily a couple of major plot holes and a whole lot of boring bloat in between all the fun stuff. But you know what? It's kind of cool to see a T-Rex go all King Kong and tear through a major city, as
You
silly
mean
as
like
it may be. According to
Godzilla?
Stan Winston, the motto while making
From
this
what,
movie
1999
was
that
more,
I've seen?
bigger, better. And you know what? 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Did that motto extend to the body count as well? Let's find out and get to the kills.
So is it not good? Or is it
The
good?
movie
I don't
begins
know.
4 years after the original on Isla Sorna, nearest
Which is
to the original movie's
4 years
location,
after the
Isla
first
Nublar.
movie came
The
out.
very posh Bowman family is enjoying a beach picnic with all their sailormen servants when daughter Kathy runs off to explore on her own. She discovers a cute little Compsognathus, also known as a Compy, but makes the mistake
Aw.
of giving it a taste of roast beef. The Compy calls its friends over to the free meal, and they all swarm the little girl, no longer content with subpar lunch meat. Kathy's screams are heard by her beachside bougie family, who run to her location
Where did
and
they
end this cold
put
open
their
with a scream.
boat?
But later on, Hammond mentions that Kathy survived, so patience, my friends. Our count hasn't begun just yet. Speaking of Hammond, we go to his mansion next, where he has summoned a somehow even sexier Ian Malcolm. Malcolm runs into the Murphy kids in a quick cameo by Joseph Masello and Ariana Richards, then encounters Hammond's slimy nephew Peter Ludlow, who's taking over Hammond's company InGen after the unfortunate Kathy Bowman incident. There's no love lost between these two, since apparently Ludlow sued Malcolm for breaking his NDA when he tried to tell the public about Jurassic Park. This is all revealed in one of a few long takes where people constantly talk over each other, making their dialogue really difficult to understand.
I recall your university revoked your tenure for your selling wild stories.
I didn't sell anything. I never took a cent, and I told the truth.
Upstairs, a sleepy Hammond tells Malcolm about Site B, a facility on Isla Sorna where they had made and bred the dinosaurs before moving them to the park on Nublar. A hurricane wiped out all of the
there's another island
right after the park incident, so after 4 years of no human involvement, Isla Sorna is now home to a veritable dino society.
Life will find a way, as you once so eloquently.
I've seen the first one.
But Hammond's nephew Ludlow wants to use the Site B dinosaurs to make some dino dollars, so Hammond is sending a small team to Sorna to document the dinosaurs and build up public support against his nephew's plan. Malcolm is face in hands worried about this, even more so when he finds out that the paleontologist pegged for the mission is Malcolm's girlfriend, Sarah Harding. And wouldn't you know it, Sarah's already gone to the island ahead of time, the sparky little go-getter. And that, kids, is how Hammond got Ian Malcolm on his Sorna squad. Good con, Hammond, you wily old coot. Malcolm goes to a garage and joins the other two members of the team. There's head engineer Eddie Carr, played by Richard Schiff, and field photographer / activist Nick Van Owen, played by a 27-year-old Vince Vaughn. Maybe they just hired
Vince Vaughn,
who they could easily frame with Jeff Goldblum, since these dudes are 6'4" and 6'5", the damn sequoias. Seeing Malcolm off as his daughter Kelly.
I mean, I'm 6'1".
Leaving her all of a sudden when he was supposed to be spending time with her.
You like to have kids, but you just don't want to be with them, do you?
He also apparently doesn't like to closely monitor them, since Kelly manages to sneak into the island-bound RV and smuggle away in there without anyone ever noticing. The first of a few story points that simply don't hold up to scrutiny. The team takes a boat to the island, and then they're there, driving around in that kick-ass RV and these Mercedes SUVs, not Jeeps. They use Eddie's fancy pants GPS to track down Sarah Harding, the ever-radiant
wasn't a G-Wagon,
actually. Who's real excited to have learned that Stegosaurus travel in family units and all other kinds of dinosaur fun facts. She's got a great career at Snapple ahead of her. The baby Stego is ready for its close-up, so Sarah gets all up in his face for a headshot. But her camera starts screaming when it runs out of film.
Oh yeah, film
is something you used to have to load into cameras to take pictures on. It existed in finite rolls that would eventually run out and limit your photo taking capability.
Yeah, you have to take it to like CVS or Walmart, Walgreens, and then have them developed and come back in a couple days. Oh yes, good times.
But then they just leave.
They're leaving. I think they're leaving.
Maybe work on the endings to these dino sequences, Lost World. Everyone gets back to the RV and finds that Kelly is stowed away in it, apparently camping in that nasty little sleeping corner back there.
Wait, so nobody was in the RV when they brought it there? They didn't use it to transport anybody?
He and Kelly should get out of there, but she wants to stay and study dinosaurs in action instead of digging around in the dirt.
I love you. I just don't need you right now.
Yeah,
a whole bunch of helicopters
also weren't there for before.
Malcolm and Kelly, they're Ludlow's InGen crew, and they land a whole bunch of Jeeps, right, and motorcycles in a really cool.
Why in the world? Why is he driving like that?
It's pumped now as it did when I was 8 years old. It's got so many awesome moments, like when this motorcycler guy drives his bike between a Mamenchisaurus's legs, or when a bunch of dudes try to wrangle a Pachycephalosaurus who has 9 inches of solid bone on its dome that he uses to knock a guy straight through a Jeep. Yeah, the Pachycephalosaurus is eventually taken down by a truck with fun little sidecars and a big tuning fork on the front that, like, I don't know would be super efficient in real life, but did make for a badass toy I made my parents buy me. Witness to all this dino napping is Malcolm's.
I wonder if that was part of the thing they had to make like cool vehicles
to
sell.
Very concerned about the dino rights being violated. Peter Ludlow's InGen team is led by big game hunter Roland Tembo, played by the late Pete Postlethwaite, and he's there for one reason only: to hunt and capture a male T-Rex. The team's science advisor is Dr. Robert Burke, whose appearance is based on real-life paleontologist Robert T. Backer, who was name-dropped in the first Jurassic Park movie by Tim.
There's this other book by a guy named Backer, and his book was a lot fatter than yours. It was like this.
Burke tells Dieter Stark, Roland's second-in-command played by Peter Stormare, that dinosaurs like his copy aren't going to show fear towards humans since it doesn't really have any reason to fear man. In response,
think he was just in a more Sidemen video,
wasn't
he?
Dick he is.
No, shush.
Oh, you're gonna get it later, boy. Tembo tracks down the Rex nest where he finds a little baby T. Tembo's assisted by this dude Ajay Sidhu, who I think is just being played by an English actor, Harvey Jason, in brownface. So, like, that's kind of a weird choice, movie. They steal the baby Rex in an effort to lure its parents into a trap that, but Mama and Papa Rex always forget to check their Facebook event invites, so
Wait,
they never
what?
show up. Malcolm's
Wait.
team spies on the
They tried to lure out a
Nick
T-Rex.
admits that he's not only a
I mean-
photographer, but also a saboteur sent by Hammond to mess up Ludlow's plan. That plan is to bring the dinosaurs to a zoo in San Diego so they can make money, which must be very exciting.
Okay,
for the
there's a
in-pen board
lot
directors,
of
Ludlow's having a static
military
Skype
in
call
San
with. But
Diego.
after Nick and Sarah sneak
And
into
now there's
Ludlow's
gonna be
camp and
dinosaurs.
free all the dinosaurs, the dinos destroy this tent of capitalism like a bunch of Bolshevicosauruses. Property gets ruined, and there are a bunch of great action shots of dinosaurs, but ultimately nobody is killed, even after a
Really?
jeep comically explodes and somehow flies high enough to almost hit Tembo and Ajay in their little poacher's treehouse. With the baby Rex no longer being monitored, Nick destakes
And
it so
then
he and
the-
Sarah can take it back to the RV
the big
and
T-Rex
mend
is
its
gonna show
broken
up.
leg. Not a great surprise for Malcolm, who must be having all sorts of flashbacks to outhouses right
Oh.
now. The baby is loud as fuck, because, you know, it's a baby. And although
It's
Nick muzzles it with a
hurt.
belt, Kelly still worries about other animals being drawn to the noise. So Malcolm takes her to Eddie in the high hide, a fun forest dumbwaiter
Huh?
that takes the three of them up above the tree line and in front of a giant green screen. They hear a scary T-Rex roar coming their way.
that's the
Although
things
they've
you
got
can
a phone
see
to
from
the
up
RV,
there.
Sarah and Nick are too busy with the baby, so they miss the long-distance call from Kashyyyk. Malcolm leaves the safety of the high hide to go warn them, probably giving himself wicked rope burn in the process. He gets back just in time for them to hear a big crash and see one of their SUVs go tumbling off the cliff. Next thing you know,
Why are they
they've
parked
got a
that
Rex
close to a
outside
cliff?
their window. Oh, scratch that. 2 Rexes outside their window.
Oh,
More,
both of them.
bigger, better, baby. The humans try to placate the dinosaurs by
Hello.
giving them their baby back, but that's not good enough for these angry dino parents, because next thing you know,
I
they're
mean-
flipping the RV over onto its side. Apparently, the Rexes figure that if they can't get into the giant tin can of food in front of them,
Play
might
with it
as well
like a
push
cat.
it into the sea. Malcolm,
a
Sarah,
cat.
and Nick are stuck inside the trailer as the unseen Rexes knock the first half over the edge of a cliff that the filmmakers built on top of a parking structure at Universal. I actually used to park at that structure when I worked there a few years ago, so
you worked
that's
at
blowing
Universal?
my mind right now. Everyone clings to the sides of the vertical trailer.
That's really
but
cool.
Harding loses her grip and plummets down to the glass below. In a very tense
Oh,
moment,
oh,
the glass
oh.
begins to slowly
Oh,
break
no.
around her hands and body weight, and she's only saved at the last minute by Malcolm and her lucky pack right before a phone falls and breaks the glass out from underneath her. Damn, I still
Dude,
can't
the
believe
grip
that was my
strength.
parking structure. But look at this behind the scenes footage. That's so cool. Eddie races over in their remaining SUV to save the trio from their inverted jeopardy. And somehow in this life or death situation, Malcolm
Where's the
finds his
T-Rexes
sense of
at?
humor again.
Who's hurt? What do you need? 3 double cheeseburgers with everything. No onions on mine.
They're
Yeah,
actually.
that seems like not a time he'd make a joke, but whatever. That
Why
doesn't stop
not?
Eddie Carr from being a
I feel like
downright
they're like,
hero
hey,
and
we're
saving
safe.
them all single-handedly. First, he takes a rope tied to a tree trunk and throws it to them. Then, when
Smart.
the trailer begins to slide back in the mud, he grabs the tow cable from his SUV and hooks it up to the RV.
That's a
not without
winch.
some difficulty. The trailers are way past the load limit for his vehicle, though, and start to pull it
Yes.
down with them over the cliff. Eddie Carr, master of his namesake, revs that SUV up and wrestles the RV back up over the edge, looking
I
like
feel
a
like
dog
it
trying
might
to
be a
pry
traction
toy from
issue
its
at that
owner's
point.
hands. But before he can finish his rescue mission, the 2 T-Rexes return
Oh,
and
no.
surround his SUV. They repeat a few beats from the original movie, including the dilating pupil and raising the roof like a motherfucker, before grabbing Eddie Carr and
Oh,
giving him
dude,
a real
why are they
King
so
Solomon
gentle?
treatment by
Dude,
tossing
he
him
should
up
be a
and ripping
hero.
him in half. I guess both these dinosaurs cared about eating him equally. The
Aw,
RV falls
did they
down
make a
around
wish?
Malcolm, Sarah, and Nick as they hang there precariously. Good thing nobody left any drawers open. The grand finale of this action set piece is a green screen explosion that tosses debris up towards our blurry foreground hero.
Dude, if this was a 3D movie, they would definitely
cliff,
make
they're
that
helped
something that
over the
like
edge
came
by
out of the
InGen
screen.
team, who probably heard all that loud-ass Rex ruckus going on.
let me
Thanks
guess,
to
they're
Nick
gonna
and
get captured or
Sarah's
something?
sabotage and the RV's cliff dive, both groups are now stranded on the island. So despite the fact that everyone is at each other's throats, they agree to work together to get to a communication center in the middle of the island. They walk through the night and reiterate some character
There's gonna be some
relationships.
betrayal
The
here.
activist and the hunter don't get along, Malcolm thinks Ludlow is a real stupid prick, etc., etc. In the morning, they take a breather, during which Tembo unwisely leaves his gun unattended, and Dieter Stark unwisely leaves the group to go for a very
have
distant
very
view. Why
weird
gone so
mix
far,
of
dude?
guns.
You ain't got nothing they haven't seen before. Away from the others, Stark runs into another Compsognathus, who he immediately tries to electroprod again. His exercise in sociopathy makes him lose his way,
And he's
his
getting
yells go unheard by the
led
nearest
on
InGen dude,
by
this
a
guy
small
Carter, who's listening to
guy.
music on his headphones. After Stark misses a step, he takes a tumble down a hill that leaves him vulnerable to a group pile by a bunch of compies.
Dude,
who
how are
swarm
you
all
gonna get
over
killed
him.
by
One of
that
them
many
even bites
compies?
at his
Oh,
lip in an image that
ew.
straight up fascinated 8-year-old James. He gets them off of him and chases
Okay.
them away a bit, bit, but the persistent little dinosaurs follow him through the barrows and tear into him once more.
Dude, they're
eventually
so
chasing
persistent.
him behind a log where Stark's fate is sealed by a hearty death scream and the river running red. Should have known better. Isla Sorna is way too far south for a Stark to be roaming around. That night, the post-merge tribe makes camp and is
Game of Thrones
peacefully
reference.
when some puddles
I was
start
thinking
ripping.
Tony.
And y'all know what
No,
that means, of course.
he's thinking
Looks
Winterfell.
like Mama Rex has sniffed out Sarah's bloody vest and is ready to deliver another intense scene.
Are they like
the T-Rex
sharks?
might have just joined in on some campfire songs and games, but for Carter, who wakes up and screams, scaring the Rex so much she can't even stand to show her face to the loud and boisterous campers. When Papa Rex comes to defend his lady's honor, Tembo tries to bag the buck, only to find that Nick is really excelling in his role as saboteur.
Dude, to change the shells in the gun
chasing all the
is
other characters
such a
away,
troll
and
move.
This time, he's struck with some luck and tranks the buck. While Tembo is dino darting, everyone else is somehow running away from the T-Rex that the first movie mentioned could run at 30 miles per hour. Oh well, speed doesn't matter when you're just trying to mud stomp, which is what the Rex does to Carter, crushing him against the ground,
he's done.
carrying him on her foot for a while. Like
wait, how do you know which one's the Mama Rex?
Paper. Don't worry, Ms. Rex. Nobody noticed. You're so cool. Nick, Sarah Kelly, and Dr. Robert Burke are chased by the T-Rex behind a waterfall. So, you know that's probably not a good sign for Dr. Burke, the most expendable character of this bunch. Sure enough, the dude panics after he finds a snake in his vest, and he
what kind of snake is it?
into the Rex's jaws, getting carried out and becoming a waterfall of blood,
friendly.
which delighted his real-life inspiration, Dr. Backer, who always argued that Rexes were predators. The T-Rex remembers some words of wisdom from TLC and
people think they
to the
weren't?
rivers and the lakes that it's used to, leaving Malcolm to make a dramatic reunion with the rest of our pro tags. How close were you tailing that dinosaur, Ian? The InGen Red Shirts,
apparently.
meanwhile, are continuing their escape
I guess you can
through
follow
a
the
bunch of long
footprints.
grass that Ajay warns them against entering.
What's in the long
That's
grass? There can be
there's a
raptors.
metric fuck ton of velociraptors hanging out.
Oh
and
no!
In a very memorable sequence.
Oh, that's
snake
so
through
cool.
The verdure to destroy
Reminds
all
me of
humans.
Leprechaun
During
Origins.
this attack, we see 6 dudes trip down into the grass. And since we later get confirmation from Tembo that Ajay also perished, I'll count him on the list as well, since he's an established character. I can't say for certain that anyone else died, and since I tend not to use conjecture on my counts, we're just gonna add 7
why
to the
didn't
list
jump?
here. Malcolm
Why
and the
didn't
others
jump so
also have to
high?
go through the long grass, but luckily they have plot armor, so they make it through without incident.
How
After
convenient.
they
Or maybe
slide
all
down
the others
hill,
are just
though,
distracted.
Malcolm hurts his leg again, so Nick runs ahead to the communication center to call for a rescue. At the abandoned village, Nick finds a nostalgic mural on the wall and then all the power stuff, so he's able to turn that shit on and use the radio to call for help.
Where's the power coming
killed
from?
That side mission. Malcolm, Sarah, and Kelly finally make it to the lit up village, but as they're calling out for Nick, a velociraptor attacks Sarah and would have ripped her apart if not for her lucky pack. 2 more raptors show up because it takes more
Does she
than
still have
2
the pack or
to
no?
tango or something like that. Lots of fun Veloci action here with both Raptor
I say
and
that
Malcolm
glass does
taking
not
many
look
a
very
spill
strong.
through glass windows, while the 2 raptors after Sarah and Kelly dig a tunnel. There's a great
What?
moment when one of them crashes through the floorboards as Kelly tries to crawl out. Malcolm joins the ladies in their little raptor shack, and that's when we get one of the most ridiculous moments of the series.
What?
Kelly, who earlier had mentioned she was cut from her school's gymnastic team, uses some extremely conveniently located bars to friggin' gymnastic.
Oh, of course, and they're strong enough.
Knocking
Oh,
it through a
what?
window and onto a spike that impales her through the belly.
The school cut you from the team?
Sarah is separated from
I
Kelly.
mean, I got cut from the soccer
winds
team.
up hanging off the roof in the middle of a Velociraptor.
The coach quit
sandwich.
6
Sarah,
games in because I
always
lost
the
all
frugal
6
shopper,
games.
Gets a 2-for-1 deal when she knocks the roof raptor off and straight into the other one, starting a violent sibling rivalry that gives her the chance to escape in a very end of theme park ride manner. Seriously, watch this. She tumbles through a few platforms right out to where Malcolm and Kelly are waiting for her to get onto the rescue choppers with Nick. Mission accomplished, riders. They fly out.
I'm surprised these
from the
choppers
safety
are
of the
unharmed.
choppers, Nick admires his act of sabotage that got at least 2 people killed, since Tembo couldn't temper that Rex attack. But as
Here's
they
so
fly
much about
away, they
dinosaurs.
see down below that Tembo did manage to get the Rex in the end. Ludlow is super excited about it, saying the buck and baby Rexes will save InGen. But Tembo is all frowny-faced over Ajay's death, and so he bids farewell to Ludlow and the movie, denying us any more great Postlethwaite acting. Rest in peace, Pete. Now
Also, I'm
it's
pretty
time
sure
for that
he's wearing
infamous
a
San Diego sequence, which
Rolex
begins with less
day
than a
date
half hour of runtime
presidential
left. So
band.
maybe they should have called this Jurassic Park 2, Rexy Takes San Diego. Ludlow's having a big dinosaur press announcement that Malcolm and Sarah gate crash when the greedy businessman gets word that something's wrong with the approaching dino delivery ship. Looks like it's heading towards the dock too quickly and won't respond to any radio
What do you mean?
messages.
You mean like
Instead,
it's
the
not
ship
slowing
makes a
down,
grand
like they
entrance
got
by crashing
free?
straight into the frickin' dock and destroying everything.
I
in
mean,
its
it's great
path.
aim.
Damn, man, that's gonna cause some structural damage. I see some
To
injured
everything.
people on the dock, but no conclusive kills. Those don't come until Ludlow and the security guards board the ship and head to the cabin.
Yeah, I had zero idea.
all over the place.
Zero idea
he says
this happened
all over
ever.
the place, but I can only count what I see. So here's one definite casualty when Ludlow finds a severed hand at the helm of the ship, and a second that Malcolm finds clutching the button that controls the cargo hold doors. Hey, question, how
Why?
these people die? Because the only dinosaur on the ship is a giant T-Rex who's trapped in the cargo hold.
And it's
they
still
brought
trapped.
the infant back on the plane.
We brought the infant back on the plane.
See? Just one big-ass dinosaur trapped below deck. And yet here we have a body
What
in
happened
the tiny
to
cabin
these
of the ship and another one out on the
Could
deck.
have been like
It's
a pterodactyl
huge
or
plot
something?
hole that has forever bugged the crap out of me. When some
The comments
dumbass
might explain
picks
it.
up
I don't
the
know.
cargo
I read all the
controls
comments.
and opens it,
Leave
the
them down
T-Rex
below.
finally breaks free, and now we've got a dinosaur on the mainland, a plot point that I'm sure the series would never feel the need to go back to. After a cool shot of the
about
T-Rex
that.
roaring into the San Diego night sky, the dinosaur goes on some wacky suburban adventures. First finding a big swimming pool to drink from, and
That
then
has
eating up a
chemicals in
poor
it.
little puppy. Oh,
Oh,
that
no.
Malcolm and Sarah drive to
That-
Jurassic Park,
do
San
you think the
Diego,
puppy's
which
gonna
is
make
still
the pie
under
chart?
construction, but I bet is getting built faster than friggin' Star Wars land. This is where the priceless baby T-Rex is hanging out, apparently by itself and unmonitored. So they Rex snap the kid and set off to
Ooh,
find
what's
his
that
papa.
car?
That won't be hard since Daddy Rex is wreaking absolute havoc on Burbank,
I
which
didn't-
is standing in for San Diego here. In one memorable
I did not
moment,
realize that
rammed his face
dinosaurs
into a
or
bus,
T-Rexes
causing
were
a
that,
bunch
like,
of serious injuries, I'm sure.
they care that much
No
about their
confirmed
kids.
deaths, even after the bus runs into the walls of a Blockbuster. See,
Ah,
Blockbuster
good times.
was a place you could go and rent movies from, and then get this, you'd return them to the store after
Yep.
a few days.
And they
It's
also
crazy,
sold,
I
like,
know. In
candy
fact, the
and
only
little
confirmed
accessories and
casualty in the
toys
streets
and
of
stuff,
San
too.
Diego is this unlucky bastard, played by David Koepp, the screenwriter of this movie and co-writer of the original Jurassic Park alongside Michael Crichton. Malcolm and Harding pull into a gas station right next to the Bull Rex, who says they've got
like
a
how it
lot
just
of
looks
balls
over, it's
trying
like-
that shit. It roars at them and chases them away from the $1.09 a gallon gas.
Oh, that sounds so
More dino
nice.
hijinks happen when a Blues Brothers-sized squadron of police cars nearly run into the Rex, only for him to give a single roar at their sirens.
Dude,
that
I
sends
can't-
them
a
comically
T-Rex
driving
has to be, like,
backwards to
super
get away from
dense,
it.
right?
I do like that they brought animal control though. Good gag. The Rex
Animal
chases
control for a
Malcolm and Sarah
T-Rex?
through a
You
warehouse
kidding
straight
me.
back onto the dock, where Peter Ludlow sees them and chases after them, screaming, "What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening." But Malcolm and Sarah would rather
think's
jump off
happening?
a ship than talk to Ludlow, so they do, leaving Hammond's evil
Oh,
nephew to
okay.
a solitary sweet life on deck. He goes into the cargo hold where Malcolm and Sarah left the baby Rex, because Ludlow's still trying to do business and shit. But
And
that's
it's
when
going
Big Daddy
to
Rex
attack-
finally
okay,
finds
well-
his boarding pass and comes downstairs to get Ludlow away from his child.
Yep,
Papa Rex
nope.
sets up the kill, but knows that kids learn best by doing. So the ultimate kill of Peter Ludlow
By the little-
goes to the
by the
baby
baby Rex?
T-Rex.
Aw.
It's very first as far as we know. Ha, enjoy it, little guy. You never forget your first. Now that
That's-
he's all fed and rested,
Now,
the
is
Rex
that like-
thinking about rallying and heading out on the town again.
Is that like the
Harding
same
nixes that
T-Rex
idea
from,
by
like,
shooting him in the neck with
the
another
Chris Pratt
tranquilizer
movies?
dart, putting him down
Or there's
for
gonna be a third
cargo
movie,
hold
actually.
nap right as the doors close over him. The movie ends with a news report showing the Rex being returned to Isla Sorna as John Hammond proselytizes for
Also,
dino
wait,
autonomy
that
on the
boat
island without
cannot
any
be in
human
good shape.
involvement. And of course, one more shot of the dinosaurs hanging out on the island together. This time with some non-dinosaur pteranodons flying around too. How are you about to contain
non-dino?
those sons of bitches, Hammond? They got wings! But they ain't
True.
gonna be killing people just yet. And right now we've got to deal with the mess that the Raptors and Rex has left us.
A
So
lot
let's see
more
what
than
the
the
damage
first
is
movie.
and get to the numbers.
I never seen a single clip from this movie ever.
By my count, 15 people died in
All
the Lost
guys.
World Jurassic Park. Again, all of them dudes. Dinos just have a taste for Y chromosomes, I guess. With a runtime of 129 minutes, we had a
Was
kill
that the
on
same
average
amount of time?
8.6 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Eddie Carr, obviously. Dude got split apart by a couple of kissing dinosaurs. How the hell is
Yeah.
anything gonna compare to that? Dome Machete for lamest kill will go to the 2 confirmed kills on the T-Rex transport.
Both
ship,
of them?
Since seriously, there's nothing you can
And
say
why
to
are they
make
just
sense
hands?
of them. They are a giant plot hole, and it is bad.
Also,
Finally,
they died so
the
fast they
Dino for
kept on
coolest
holding on to
dinosaur
them,
sequence will go to the raptors in the
walkie-talkie.
grass. The scene is eerie and iconic, with some striking imagery of the raptors sneaking around in the grass and the guys all getting pulled down to their deaths. Plus that one dude
And they
gets
didn't even
straight
hear him
pounced
coming.
on. I fucking love it. And that's it. The Lost World Jurassic Park came out in 1997 and is the only non-Indiana Jones sequel that Spielberg's ever directed. He did not
Wait,
direct
what?
the next movie in the series,
Oh.
Jurassic Park 3, which I'll be covering next week.
Is it
Until
good?
then, I'm
Is it
James
is
H.
good?
Neeson.
Is it bad?
It's been the Kill Count.
I don't know
Thanks
if
a
I'm
lot
gonna
for watching this
do
week's Kill Count. I
Jurassic
wanna thank a
Park
couple of
3
patrons like Gambit Heather
and
Briley. I also want to
Jurassic
shout out
World
Coronation Street
in
number
next
one
week's
fan
video?
due to a live stream agreement
Or-
we had like a long time ago. Sorry it took me so long, dude. I've got
Or I'll
major
do Unfriended.
nostalgia
I don't
glasses
know.
on for the Lost World Jurassic Park. Which movie on the Kill Count do you feel the same way towards? Like, you know it's not great, but you still love it anyway.
I haven't
Let me know in
seen,
the
like,
comments.
any
All right,
movies,
everyone,
so-
be good people.
I have to explain to people, because it's Halloween time, that the only Tim Burton movie I've ever seen is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and not The Nightmare Before Christmas or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know if next week's should be Unfriended, which I think I remember seeing previews for Unfriended being scared. I want to say it's like a bunch of friends that are like on Skype calls or whatever, and then like somebody happens to their friend, like they bully a girl or something like that. If something happens and like a bunch of scary stuff happens. So I don't know if that's going to be next week or next week's going to be Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World. Just for the sake of the playlist being all the Jurassic Park movies all in one go. Like in consecutive 2 videos back to back and not being split up by Unfriended, which is going to be a standalone episode. And then we're going to move up to the Predator franchise, which I know pretty much nothing about outside of what I believe Death Battle has talked about. But this is Jurassic Park 1 and The Lost World Jurassic Park 2, basically. I do look forward to reading your comments. I hope you have a one for us today. Hopefully I made it a tiny little bit better. But until next video, take care and keep the music.
We were playing